Hey, Facebook. What's the one thing that you can think of that you have learned during this season or during this time? What's the one lesson you think that you've learned about yourself or about life or about others during COVID-19? And just bear with me for a second. Just bear with me for 1 second. I have this personal philosophy that I don't allow tough situations or difficult situations in my life to go to waste. I want to learn from those situations. I want to grow from the situations. I believe that tough situations can either make us or break us, or I believe that situations like COVID-19 can either, and I've heard this said, can either become our tombstone or it can become our stepping stone. It all depends on attitude, and it all depends on perspective. And so I want you to think about what are the things that you've started doing, that you've adopted, and that you've learned during this time that you want to continue to build on even after we've come out of this pandemic. And while you are thinking about that, I'm going to share um, a few of the things that I can think of that I want to maintain and continue to build on even after we've returned back to a sense of normality. The first thing for me personally is I want to live with an attitude of gratitude. If you watch my very first video post, which asks the question, "What are you thankful for?" That is the attitude that I want to have in the way that I live my life every day. I want to have an attitude of gratitude. There's a lot of stuff that we've taken for granted. There's a lot of stuff that we just assumed will happen. And I want to get back to a place where I appreciate the gift of life every day. And the way that we live, I find, I don't know about you, but I find that I live my life sometimes by reflecting on what has happened. So living in the past, right? So whether that be a past victory or a past milestone in my life, or it might be failures, mistakes, regrets. So sometimes I find I live in that place quite a bit. And so the one thing I want to do is I want to avoid living in the past. And in the same breath, I also want to avoid living in the future. I want to plan for the future, but I don't want to spend my time there. I think my approach at the moment is I want to use the wisdom learned from yesterday and use that wisdom to plan well for the future, but I don't want to do that at the cost of today. I actually want to live a life where I lift up my head and I smell the roses. I want to enjoy the sun on my face when I take a walk. I want to enjoy, or I want to appreciate the sound of waves crashing on the seashore. I want to live life. I want to be in a place where I am seizing the day. I'm seizing this moment. I'm alive now. Um, and so yes, so the very first thing is I want to live with an attitude of gratitude. The second thing is I think I want to love on people. If there's one thing I've realized during this time is the importance of people and the importance of relationships. Um, we've I've always had this excuse of busyness, right? So I've got a job, I've got to provide for my family, I've got places to go, I got people to see. I haven't got time to sit down and chit chat. And what this pandemic has afforded us, as I've stated before, is it is afforded us time, right? And so life has slowed down to a point where busyness is no longer an excuse. I can't use that excuse anymore. And so as a family, we've been forced, to through lockdown and restrictions. Thanks, COVID-19. Through lockdown and restrictions, we've been forced to bond, to grow closer, to have heart to hearts, and to just foster strong connection and strong relationships. As a family, me with my wife, and obviously me with my sons, and vice versa. And as we've grown closer, as we've just spent time investing, checking in with one another on a regular basis, we've learned that, you know what, we are our biggest supporters. It has become very obvious to us that as we support and champion each other, that it has made this pandemic more bearable. It has made this season of difficulty and hardship. It has made it just so much more bearable. It provided strength and encouragement when we needed it, because we were drawing close to one another. The power of relationship, the power of people around you. I think I want to do the same with friendships. I want to invest in good friendships. I want to keep my friends close to me and make an effort to spend time with them. People that are less fortunate than ourselves. Let's not forget them. Let's reach out to those people because they need relationship and people to come alongside them too. I think we live, when it comes to people and relationships, I think we live with this idea that relationships just evolve into healthy, strong relationships. And that is actually not the case. I think all relationships require work, require effort, require investment, and require us to be intentional about coming together, having conversations, and checking in with each other on a regular basis. And so that's what I want to do. I want to love on people. I want to be intentional about building relationships and make time for people even after we've come out of COVID-19. And then the last thing, point three for me is I think I want to have a strong, healthy faith. I think it's the one thing that has really, really been a mainstay in my life and in the life of my family during this time. It is our reliance on a strong, healthy faith, and that simply means, for me personally, it simply just means that I love God and I love people. I love God with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength. And I love people as I love myself. I do unto others as I would have done unto me. And I think it is when we do that, when we start um, exercising a strong, healthy biblical faith, it is like a man who builds his house on a rock, right? And then the storms of life comes. There's floods, there's winds, gale force winds, there's floods that come against this house, but the house remains standing even after the storms, even after the gale force winds, even after the floods. And I want to build my life like that. I want to have the right foundation. I want to have a secure foundation that my life stands on, so that in the same way that the house could withstand the storms and the floods and the gale force winds of life, that my own life can withstand the storms of life, like COVID-19, like this pandemic, that once it's come and gone, that I will still remain standing, that my family will still remain standing. So my question to you is, what are you building your life on? What is the foundation of your life? Think about that for a second. So in summary, for me personally, as you've thought about the things that you've learned, is the first is, I want to live with an attitude of gratitude. The second is, I want to love on people. And the third is, I want to have a strong, healthy, biblical faith. So now over to you. Can you think of the things that you have learned during this time that you want to continue to build on even after we've come out of this pandemic? Hey, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments of this Facebook post. Share your thoughts with me. I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, you stay safe, you remain healthy. Until next time.